Touken Ranbu Warriors is Koei Tecmo's newest console-exclusive release on the Nintendo Switch, but the game is also going to be available on PC via Steam. This title is trying to bring into the fold a new and interesting IP into the Musou formula with some fresh ideas and interesting premises. The Touken Ranbu franchise is not rather well known in the West, but is based off of the Nitro Plus and DMM Games free-to-play collectible mobile browser game of the same name that launched all the way back in 2015. In it, you play a kind of sage that can time travel to defeat the evil, and each playable character is depicted as some sort of attractive male representing legendary swords. It is easily tailored for women and reminiscent of the Kantai Collection, the rather infamous Ship Girls franchise. This game's story essentially has you stopping the History Retrograde Army from altering history as the newly appointed protectors by the government of time. The Touken Danshi, essentially you and the other 15 or so characters that are available to you from the get-go, also happen to have their very own unique playstyles, personality, and tendencies to get to protect history and time in their very own way. To say that the game's premise is a bit out there is an understatement, but for fans of this franchise, and especially Musou fans who know not to really get all that invested in the story, is not much of a problem. Speaking of traditional Musou fans, you'll feel right at home here. Your guide marker, which is something that the franchise doesn't always make use of, is a small fox named Konosuke. It's constantly moving forward in a guiding fashion telling you where to go. It feels very handholdy, but there's a reason for this. On the field, you not only have your active characters that you're controlling at any moment, but you also have a second assist character that can be called out to do a variety of things. These can come in the form of follow-ups, special team-up attacks, and even counters. To fulfill this, there's a bit of meter management to be done on your end and to do your very own finishers, but also the Soto bar meter, which is focused on your partner. When this fills up, you can do a combo attack with your partner to cause devastating damage to your opponents. Another new and interesting tweak to the old formula is the damage state, where if you take in too much damage, or incoming damage for that matter, your character's clothes will begin to look rather ragged as you gain the ability to do a little bit extra damage and for your bars to fill up just a little bit faster as well. Controls have been rather simplified this time around as well, offering you an easy and normal set of options. If you choose normal, you can do your attacks like in most Musou titles. However, if you choose to go with the easy route, then you'll be dishing out more auto combos to let you have much more of an easier time with a pesky combat encounter. That's not to say that the game is a cakewalk. The normal mode still has you dealing with simple normal, strong, dodge, and special commands at will to really focus on a specific enemy with directional inputs. So most people who have played a Musou will have no problems here at all. It seems like the introduction of this new easy mode for controls is for newcomers due to the nature of this franchise who may have never actually played a game of this type. The good part is that it's all optional, so you can choose to opt in if you want. Supplementing this is the character skill trees, which to be fair are rather limited. However, they will give you a small boost to each one of the character's playstyle to develop and find their very own niche and further deviate from one another. Perhaps one of my biggest criticisms is the lack of enemy variety. They feel mostly uninspired, and you mowing down waves can really feel empty after a while. They don't offer any real discerning changes until much later in the game. To be fair though, difficulties can change their behavior a tad, but ultimately I would have hoped for a bit more pushback. With that said, markers for big and heavy attacks by the enemies are clearly marked, which is something that the series has begun to embrace. The base you venture out from is called the Honmaru. This is where you can do all your prep work before you take on missions, setting up for parties, which are 5 in total, and even have each one of the Touken Danshis build up social bonds with each other. This is accomplished the more you partner up in the field, so it leads them to get friendlier with one another as new cutscenes and dialogue choices begin to unlock. Leveling the Honmaru also gets you to unlockable rewards not only for your home, but also the Touken Danshis, as you accrued more points to siphon back into the Honmaru. There's also a few minigames to keep you entertained between missions, but nothing too big. I will shout out the great photo mode that Koei is bringing over from the Rise series, and it will let you capture some awesome shots. Performance on the Nintendo Switch is surprisingly stable. We've seen a recent wave of Musous perhaps not having the most stable performances on the Switch, but this game having the Switch as the lead platform allowed it to have a proper development on that front, and both handheld and docked feel very good. Touken Ranbu Warriors is an interesting Musou for a rather different audience that's attempting to give fans of this niche and mobile IP something to grab onto. While it grabs accessibility, it comes at a cost that perhaps is for some too steep of a price. Nintendo's Fear gives Touken Ranbu Warriors on the Nintendo Switch a 7 out of 10. If you're new to my channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Hit the bell to receive notifications when my videos go up, and as always, thank you so much for watching. See ya.